Imagine you were dining in a restaurant. Suddenly there was a loud scream from the next table. A lady was panicking and screaming as there was a cockroach on her table. The cockroach was running around the table in an unpredictable fashion. The lady was jumping up and down, making a huge scene and making everyone in her group panicked as well. Shortly, a waiter from the restaurant arrived at their rescue. The waiter was composed. He took some time to observe the direction where the cockroach was running and calmly grabbed the cockroach with a napkin and threw it out of the restaurant. So, what is the difference between the lady and the waiter? What makes them react so differently in the same situation? The lady was reactive to the situation, whereas the waiter was proactive in the situation. Reactive people love to play the blame game, and to them, all the problems happening around them are the fault of external factors. When things do not go according to plan, they will blame everyone except themselves. When they have a bad day at work, they will blame their colleagues or bosses. When there's a price increase in grocery, they will blame the government. Reactive people, they feel the problems they faced are not in their control, and there is nothing they can do about it. In the long run, being reactive to situations becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and reactive people feel increasingly victimized and feel even less in control. They will start to think, there is nothing I can do. That's just the way it is. On the other hand, proactive people take control of their feelings and take charge of the situation happening around them. They take 100% responsibility for their actions, and instead of blaming, they find solutions to problems. They are constantly moving forward, taking actions and making things happen. Being proactive is a way of thinking and acting. It is our willing permission, our consent to what happens to us, that hurts us far more than what happened to us in the first place. Be proactive. This is the first habit of highly effective people. Habit number 2. Begin with the end in mind. It's incredibly easy to get caught up in an activity trap, in the busyness of life, to work harder and harder at climbing the ladder of success, only to discover that it's leaning against the wrong wall. Most of us find it easy to be busy. We work hard to achieve victories in our life. Promotions, higher incomes, recognition, but we often don't stop to evaluate why we are busy, why we are so focused on chasing these victories. Habit 2 suggests that in everything we do, we should begin with the end in mind. Have a clear destination or vision. That way we can make sure we are heading in the right direction. We can use our imagination to develop a clear vision of what we want to become. Beginning with the end in mind is important in many aspects. For example, if you're a student and taking an examination, knowing what are the topics which will be tested allows you to study the right topic. If only topic 1 to 3 is tested in the examination, you will only study topic 1 to 3 because you have a clear end goal. For another example, imagine you have your own t-shirt business. Do you think you will succeed if you do not know what are your sales targets? If you do not check the numbers, you will not know exactly how many t-shirts you need to sell before turning a profit. It is very important to ask yourself, what is my end goal? How many times have you found yourself scrolling your Facebook feed, watching YouTube videos, or watching Netflix when you have other important things to be done? This is one of the most common habits which wastes so much of your time and holds you back from doing better. Habit 2, we talked about how to set a clear vision toward your goals. Habit 3 is about actually going after your goals, setting priorities, and taking steps to achieve them. Imagine yourself waking up one morning with multiple errands and work to be done. To help you prioritize what needed to be done first, use a table like this. Draw a 3x3 table and insert the following words: important, not important, urgent, not urgent. List down all of your daily tasks by sorting them accordingly. You can put business Skype call at 10 a.m. under urgent and important. Bring the dog for a walk under important and not urgent. Watching Netflix under not important and not urgent. Cleaning the window of your house under not important but urgent. This habit is simple yet hard to develop, but in order to manage ourselves effectively, we must put things first. We must prioritize our day-to-day activity based on what is important and what is urgent. Time is precious. Be stingy with your time. The challenge is not how we manage time, but how we manage ourselves. Habit 4. Think win-win. In order to establish effective interdependent relationships, we must commit to creating win-win situations that are mutually beneficial and satisfying to each party. There are 6 paradigms of human interaction. 1. Win-win. Both people win. Agreements or solutions are mutually beneficial and satisfying to both parties. 2. Win-lose. If I win, you lose. Win-lose people are prone to use position, power, credentials, and personality to get their way. 3. Lose-win. I lose, you win. Lose-win people are quick to please and appease, and seek strength from popularity or acceptance. 4. Lose-lose. Both people lose. When 2 win-lose people get together, that is, when 2 determined, stubborn, ego-invested individuals interact, the result will be lose-lose. 5. Win. People with a win mentality don't necessarily want someone else to lose. That's irrelevant. What matters is that they get what they want. 6. Win-win or no deal. If you can't reach an agreement that is mutually beneficial, there is no deal. The best option is to create win-win situations. With win-lose or lose-win, one person appears to get what he wants for the moment, but the results will negatively impact the relationship between those 2 people going forward. The win-win or no deal option is important to use as a backup. When we have no deal as an option in our mind, it liberates us from needing to manipulate people and push our own agenda. We can be open and really try to understand the underlying issues. Most people operate with the scarcity mentality, meaning they act as though everything is zero-sum. In other words, if you get it, I don't. People with a scarcity mentality have a very hard time sharing recognition or credit, and find it difficult to be genuinely happy about other people's successes. Instead, we should be embracing the abundance mentality, knowing there is plenty to go around for everyone. When it comes to interpersonal leadership, the more genuine our character is, the higher our level of proactivity. The more committed we are to win-win, the more powerful our influence will be. Always try to create a win-win outcome. Keep the focus on results, not methods, on problems, not people. Habit number 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Let's say you go to a doctor and tell him that you've been having trouble sleeping at night. The doctor thought for a while and told you, you should try sleeping in the day. Would you go back to the same doctor? Okay, that's a joke, but you get the drift. Research shows that 10% of communication is represented through words, 30% of communication through sounds, and 60% through body language. In our everyday interactions with others, we do the same thing. We prescribe a solution before we diagnose the problem clearly. We criticize people without understanding their intention. We focus on what the other person said, but not think through the reason why he said what he said. So next time, before offering advice or solutions, always seek to understand the person and their perspective through empathetic listening. Do not listen just so you can give a reply. When we're able to present our ideas clearly and in the context of a deep understanding of the other person's needs and concerns, we significantly increase the credibility of your ideas. Habit 6. Synergize. 2 men were trying to pluck apples from the apple tree. Both of them were too short to reach for the apples, and there were no ladders around. They brainstormed and decided that if one man let another man climb on him, they both get the apples. If you put 2 plants close together, their roots will entangle and improve the quality of the soil. Both plants will grow better than on its own. If you take a tree branch and try to break it in 2, you can do it easily. Now gather 10 tree branches and bunch them together. Try breaking them now. Yes, it is almost impossible to break 10 tree branches when they are bunched together. We first seek to understand, and then we find strength and utility in those different perspectives in order to create new possibilities and win-win results. The combination of all the other habits prepares us for habit 6, which is the habit of synergy, or when 1 + 1 = 3 or more, and the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Teaming up, working together, always obtains better results and increases our chances to reach our goals. Habit number 7. Sharpen the saw. Once upon a time, there were 2 lumberjacks. Both of them were tasked to cut trees for wood to sell. The boss gave each of them an axe and they got to work immediately. On the first day, both men managed to gather 10 pieces of wood. On the second day, both men only managed to gather 5 pieces of wood. On the third day, the first man stopped cutting the trees and spent his time sharpening his axe. The second man continued to cut trees. The first man gathered no wood that day, while the second man gathered only 2 pieces of wood. On the fourth day, the first man had already sharpened his axe, managed to gather 10 pieces of wood again. The second man refuses to waste time sharpening his axe, but kept trying to cut the tree using his blunt axe. The first man said to the second man, "You should sharpen your axe before cutting the tree." The second man replied, "I don't want to waste my time sharpening my axe. Cutting down more trees is more important." Well, in this story, it might seem obvious that we should sharpen the axe before cutting trees, but in reality, many of us are not sharpening our axe or saw. We know that health is important, but why can't we sharpen our health by exercising 30 minutes every day? We know that knowledge is important, but why can't we sharpen our knowledge by reading a book for 30 minutes every day? Habit 7 is sharpen the saw. We need to be focused on improving ourselves physically, mentally, and socially. The continuous renewal allows us to synergistically increase our ability to practice each habit. Habit 1, 2, and 3 are focused on self-mastery and moving from dependence to independence. Habits 4, 5, and 6 are focused on developing teamwork, collaboration, and communication skills, moving from independence to interdependence. Habit 7 is focused on continuous growth and improvement that embodies all the other habits. We have come to the end of the summary of the 7 habits of highly successful people. We hope you enjoyed the video and learned a thing or two. Be sure to apply the 7 habits in your life to be successful. If you enjoyed the video and wish to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing and comment below if the habits helped you in any way.